So hard to find a hole with one hand. That's what she said. We've got a new battery. We're going to put it in. I'm going to show you how to program it. This is essentially the same process you would follow to replace and program a new battery into pretty much any modern BMW from the last 15-ish years. Follow along, and I hope this video ends up being helpful for you and lets you take a DIY approach instead of taking it to a shop and paying somebody a bunch of money to do it. It's really not that hard. Welcome back to the channel. If you've been here a while, you probably remember this car. So this is our old 740i. Love this car. We bought it several years back and we didn't really drive it a whole lot, and we were gonna get rid of it as we bought a different vehicle for my wife. And it was such amazing condition with such low miles that our in-laws decided to buy it from us. And I'm glad it stayed in the family. It still looks gorgeous several years later. Knock on wood, I don't want to jinx it, but it still runs amazingly well. It's been well maintained, stayed in the family, and it's still just gorgeous. I love the lines on this series of the 7. You might be wondering why it's back in my garage. Well, it needs a battery. It's the original battery that's been in this thing since it was produced brand new, and it finally started to have some issues keeping a charge. If you leave it for a day, it doesn't like to start up without having a little bit of hesitation. So we've got a new battery. We're going to put it in. I'm going to show you how to program it and tell the computer it has a new battery, tell it has the right amperage of a battery, and do all that good stuff. Now, obviously, unscrewing some things and bolts and putting a battery in is not the hard part. Difficult part is most people don't do it because they got to take this thing to the dealership and have the dealership do it so they can code the new battery and then reset the computer to tell it you got a new battery. Looked around to try to see who has the best price on these. They're generally going to be around $350 to $390 for the correct size. It's the H849 AGM, so that's the size that you want. I thought Sam's Club had the best price. It was $199, and it had a core charge. You return your battery, you get your core charge back just like anywhere. $199 was a great price. I'm like, you know what? I should check Costco too. Check Costco. What do you think it costs, guys? Guess. Okay, I'll tell you. $169. Smoking deal for this size of an AGM battery. And it's an interstate. It's got a 36-month warranty. And we're going to get back to operational with only $169. Been in a European car a few times here and there. You know, most of the time, the battery's in the back. And depending on what kind of BMW you have, the battery's usually right there or right there. In this case, in the 7 Series, it's right there. This is essentially the same process you would follow to replace and program a new battery into pretty much any modern BMW from the last 15-ish years. So if you're doing this in a 3 Series, a 4 Series, a 5 Series, X5, X6, X7, 7 Series, 2 Series, any of them, right? It's pretty much the same process. So follow along, and I hope this video ends up being helpful for you and lets you take a DIY approach instead of taking it to a shop and paying somebody a bunch of money to do it. It's really not that hard. Now, what do you need other than the battery itself? You need some tools. You need a socket set, ratchet, stuff like that. The other thing you're gonna need is an OBD2 scanner, a Bluetooth one. I have 2 of them. I've used both. I like both. I have a VPeak and I have an OBDLink MX Plus. Either of these will work fine for the purposes of what we're doing today. I have both just because I like collecting random tools, and somehow I have a lot of these. Don't tell my wife. Battery is out of there. We're gonna lift this guy up, take this mat out, and you gotta lift this up. There's a little tab right here. Just grab it, it's a little loop. Pick that up, and it just folds back. Now you're looking down here, you're like, oh, where's the battery? I lift this up, doesn't go anywhere. This doesn't go anywhere. What on earth? What kind of magic is this? Pretty simple. You got these little 2 plastic nuts. If they're loose, you can just unscrew them with your hand. If not, it's a, I don't know if you can see in the video, it's a 10mm socket that fits over it. That'll allow you to remove it. I already had them off once, so they're just finger tight. Once you get those off, this entire thing lifts up. And you can pull that out too. We're gonna put it aside. Voila, magic. There's your battery. You can tell some of it's tucked up underneath there. So we're also going to remove this guy. Just pop it up over those studs, right there. and it pulls right out like that. We'll put this aside too. Take a quick peek in here before we really dig into anything. So you've got this battery bracket right here. The red side, if you've ever removed a battery, is all of your positive side of the voltage, everything that goes to the positive side of the battery. Black side is your ground. The ground side you can see is pretty simple and straightforward. You just got one little bolt there, one nut, and that comes off and that'll pop off. So not a whole lot of complexity to the negative side. Positive side, you've got a whole bunch of stuff here. Stick with me and I'll show you how all that comes off. Then you've got the bracket here up top that's held on by 2 bolts. One is right there. Let's focus, there it is. That one right there. The other side is down here, right over there. I'll put links down in the description of the video for everything I use, including the Bluetooth scanners, the apps for the phone, and any tools I'm using. I'm also using my trusty little, this usually goes on a hood, right? If you have the hood of a car up, this light has the hooks, the rubber-ended hooks, so that you're not causing any damage to your hood, and it kind of hugs the hood and shines light down onto an engine bay. But worked perfectly here too. Just leave it on the trunk, on the edges, and gives me daylight. Look at that. God, I love having tools. Just buy it and replace the battery and tell your wife, hey, this costs less than taking it to the shop. Now I got more cool tools for next time. Let's get to it. So 10mm nut. I'm gonna grab my ratchet, move this nut right here. Easy breezy. If the alarm or anything goes off, I apologize ahead of time for all the noise. Let's see. Wiggle, wiggle. Let's get this off. Come on now. There we go. That is off. I'm just gonna put this off to the side right here so that it's not in the way. Now, let's get over to this side. You wanna know where your stuff is at that you need to mess with, right? So just like we had that terminal connector, you got this little 10mm nut, you got the same thing on this side. It's just underneath a little cover. So there's a little tab right here. Push that tab, lift up the little magic lid, and there you go. There's your 10mm nut. You undo that, that guy comes right off, along with, you see it from the top, so it'll come off along with the little square assembly that's around it. So that little piece right there will pop right off. Now we got this guy to deal with, right? What's holding it on is this metal piece, and all you do is to release that is put your finger behind it, and, well, I guess I could do it from the bottom. I don't know if you can see under there. No, you can't see on the camera. But the little metal tab is right here. Just pull towards yourself. There you go. Now it's loose, right? And you gotta do the same thing on the other side. I can't reach the bottom of that, so I'm gonna use a flathead. I'm gonna do the same down below. Let's see, I'm gonna try to do this while I'm on camera. A little complicated to find. Oh, there we go. I just stuck it down right here on top and pulled that tab. Now, this whole thing should be, yep, nice and loose. So you can tell that metal bracket's loose and this metal bracket's loose. Now it's not coming up. Let's see what else is holding it. We've got a little tab right there. Woo! So we gotta take that off. This one is a 13mm. So let's grab our ratchet and there we go. Sorry, difficult to do this with one hand. Let's get this off. All right, so this one, you actually want to take the nut off. Make sure you put it somewhere safe, don't lose it. And now, everything is loose. Nothing's connected. You should be able to pull this guy out. The one other thing we got to remove before we can take this and lay it out to the side is this metal bracket. So let's get that off. If you remember, one bolt there, one bolt right now. If y'all don't have a set of these wobble extensions, so you see that socket's on there, but this extension just wobbles all around while allowing that socket to sit straight. get yourself a set of these wobble extensions. I'll put the link down in the description below. I get all this stuff on Amazon. Buy them wherever you want, but if you don't have a good source, link will be down in the description. There we go. And let's pull that out. Okay, again, don't lose your bolts. Put them somewhere safe. This one should be out. Put that somewhere safe. Those are both the same size and shape bolts. All right, and our bracket's out. I'm gonna put it back here for safekeeping. Now let's see. Is this guy ready? He's ready. Yep, nothing else holding that guy back. So before I do move that out of the way, since this is routed over the top, I'm gonna remove that 10mm nut. That is off, kind of wiggled it loose. And I'm gonna take this whole thing as one big assembly and try to move it off to the side. Let me see, can I do this with one hand? All right. If it wasn't gonna stay, what I would have done is just grabbed a zip tie from there and attached it to this little guy right here. Put a little tension on it so it would stay. If you have any wires that are just sitting in the way and you think it might cause a short or touch something, just be safe. Go grab a zip tie, piece of string, whatever you have it handy, and just tie it down to something so it doesn't get in your way while you're trying to maneuver this heavy, gigantic battery out. Huh, I just noticed something. The date on the battery. It's upside down, but you can tell it's 1/18. That means January 2018 is when that battery was made. And this vehicle is a, it's either 2014 or 15. I don't remember. So I guess it was replaced once, about 3 years into its service life, give or take. So it's 2024 right now. So this battery is 6.5 years old. Middle of June 2024 right now. So 6.5 years. Hey, that's not bad. That's pretty good life out of a battery. Anyway, so I'm gonna grab these two handles. They flip up like that. It's extremely heavy. If you're not very strong, get a friend to help you, and each person grab one handle, and I'm gonna get it out. Before you lift it up, check around. Usually there's a vacuum hose on these German cars that attaches to the battery. Let's see. There it is. So we're gonna unplug that little vacuum hose so we don't rip it out of the car. That's a little vent hose, just pulls right out. There's nothing holding it. There's no like clamps or anything like that. It just pulls right out. Put it out of the way so you don't pinch it. And now we're ready to pull this battery up. I'm gonna put the camera down. It's really heavy. It's out. Before you put your new battery in, don't be a dum-dum and lazy. If there's a mess under there, go grab your vacuum it up. It's pretty clean under here, but if there is a mess under there, use this opportunity to clean it up. Check around, make sure there's no spillage, no water, stuff like that. Clean things up, then put your new battery in. I'm gonna go grab the new one and we'll place it in here. As you're putting the new battery in, make sure you have it aligned correctly. Positive terminal on this side, negative terminal on this side, at least in this case. Just align it the same as your old battery was. Battery's in there, fits good, everything's where it should be. Let's put these little guys down. We'll pull this little plastic bag off. And in the little plastic bag, you're gonna have a little vacuum cap. Let me show you what that's for. You can see there's no hole running through it. What that's for is to plug the unused vacuum port. On most of these batteries, replacement ones, remember that vacuum hose that went here? Here, let's go ahead and plug that in before we forget. Just push it right in. There it is, and that one's in. And then on the other side, you're gonna have an open port as well. You see that right there? That's what this little cap's for. You wanna make sure to plug the unused port so that it doesn't vent into your vehicle. There we go. That's plugged, it's all good. Now, we'll deal with the electric connections. And what we're gonna start with is the red side. Always start with your positive connections and end with your negative connections, and do that in reverse for removal. Remove your negative connections first, then your positive connections. Take the little cap off. And we'll, let's see, wait a second. This gotta go first. I guess they go together, huh? line this guy up right there with the terminal. Kind of see it's sort of lined up. And I'm gonna get this over right there. There's gonna be that little stud has to line up. As you can tell, I'm not like bolting a piece down and then trying to do the other ones. So many pieces, you want to get it all aligned before you really bolt anything down. Okay, there's that one, there's that one. All I did was push these two tabs down, push that one and that one down, and now they're connected to the battery. There you go. You see how you loosen it up, down, loose. There we go. Easy enough. So I pop this one back off again. That back one is on. And what I'm going to do next is bolt this down for the battery terminal. Make sure it's nice and snug, and make sure that the top of the battery post is sticking up flush or past the actual terminal on the end of the wire. So push that nice and down. We'll tighten this 10mm. That one is tight. Next, just because I hate leaving stuff misaligned, like this thing is just trying to sit like this. I don't know if you can tell in the video, this end is a little too far this way. So I'm trying to get it aligned to where it's nice and straight. I'm gonna hold it right here. There we go. Put that tab down. I'm gonna hold it right here in position while I tighten that guy down. That way it's aligned square to everything else. There we go. That's tightened down. Now that that's finished, we're gonna close that one. Yep, make sure it's clicked down, and we're gonna close this one. That's done there. So now we're done with the positive side. After you put on these big terminal blocks on the positive side or on the negative side, always go back and check all these connections and make sure they're snapped in, just in case something came loose while you were fidgeting around with all these connections and moving them around. Make sure they're nice and tight in there. You don't want to chase any gremlins after the fact. So go through a couple times, just make sure that everything is snug. All right, all good there. Now, all we got to do is put the negative terminal block back on. We'll pull this guy off. There we go. Pull the plastic piece off. Before you put that on, go grab your key fob, your remote, just in case the alarm goes off, so you can click your unlock button and disable it. Got my trusty key fob. I do like these little covers. I'll put the link down in the description for this too. If you want one. They're only a few bucks. So let's get this. Here, I'm gonna put this over here just in case I need to reach it. I'm going to get this guy put on, and it's hit or miss. I don't know how all these computers are programmed. Sometimes these alarms go off and sometimes they don't do anything. Oh, no alarm. All right, that's good. That's on. Let's tighten our 10mm nut there. All right. And again, make sure the battery terminal, the post, well, sorry, the battery post, make sure the battery post is sticking up past the terminal and it's all the way down. All right, finally, we've got to put this clamp back on, or bracket, not really a clamp, battery bracket. Line it up on that side, line it up on this side. There's the hole. What you want to do is start the bolt. Just get a few threads in. Don't try to tighten it. Do it by hand. There we go. A couple threads are in. And it's still plenty loose and wiggly. You want it loose so that you don't end up misaligning one side just because the other side's tight already. Get this side started. Had to put the camera down. So hard to find a hole with one hand. That's what she said. Tighten that guy by hand. Tighten that one by hand. Grab your 13mm with your wobble extension. Now, physically, everything's in. Now comes the fun part, programming. Before you go do anything else, don't be a lazy bum. Get all your wires, like if everything's tucked in and stuff, you're fine. Like this one was sitting up here on top of the plastic. I'm gonna tuck it in. That way when that floor mat sits up here, it's not pinching anything. I'm gonna tuck this guy in here. I'm gonna take this guy, tuck it in there. I'm just weird about this stuff. Oop, there's a leaf, get that out. Well, that's fine, I guess. What else? Yeah, that's about it. Get all your trash, your tools, throw those away. So I can put these caps on the old battery. I don't know why I'm doing this. Your key, don't leave it under there. Now, what I'm gonna use is the OBDLink, or is it MX Plus adapter. Once you're under here, excuse the mess, you wanna look for a port that looks like this might plug into it, right? So in this car, it is right there. So I'm gonna take this guy and plug it right into it. You can see that there is a couple of LED lights that are on there. That's good. Make a connection, make sure it's nice and firm in there. I'm gonna turn the car on, but you don't wanna start it. So have the key with you, place it right there, and don't put your foot on the brake, but go ahead and hit the start button. And you have some stuff that comes on. Now that everything's on, your OBD2 port should be enabled and the Bluetooth connection should be enabled. The computer of the car is on and you should be able to connect to it with the app. We're going to use two apps. One of them is called BimmerCode, one of them is called BimmerLink. BimmerCode you're going to want to use to code the new battery. You essentially tell the car's computer what size and amp hour battery you have. You save those settings, you code it to the computer, and then BimmerLink you use to register the new battery. First thing we're going to do is use BimmerCode to code the new battery. We're connecting with an OBDLink MX Plus, hit continue. We are in a BMW 7 Series, right there. Continue. Allow it to finish identifying all the control units. Now that it's identified all the systems, you want to go to car access system, or on some vehicles it might be front electronic control module or something along those lines. It's going to read the coding data. Now we want to go to battery type, 105 amp hour AGM. That was the factory battery. The one I have in here is a 95 amp hour AGM. So I'm going to go ahead and select 90 amp hour. That's the closest one. And hit back. Now you hit code there at the top. It's going to tell you some notes. Hit start coding. While it's doing this, make sure the car stays on. You don't open or close any doors. You don't touch any buttons. And if you heard that noise, the car just reset. Screen's resetting. It's restarting the ECU. Clearing errors. Coding successful. All right. So now the battery is coded, and we're going to go over to our other app, BimmerLink. Before you start BimmerLink, make sure you exit BimmerCode. All right, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to use an OBDLink MX Plus. We're going to select 12-volt battery. It tells us that it's coded as a 90 amp hour AGM, battery state 99%. Last battery replacement was at 8,100 kilometers. And at the bottom, we see that there is a button for, oh God, this focus is driving me crazy. Register new battery. So register new battery. And we're going to tell it same capacity and type. Because we already coded it. It's going to give us some notes to read. You hit register new battery. And again, while it's doing this, don't open, close any doors or hit any buttons. And at the top, just popped up with a message that said battery is registered. And go back. And go back to 12-volt battery. Here we go. Mileage, last battery replacement, 66,350 kilometers. That's what we're at right now. So you're all done. That's it. Now I'm going to turn the vehicle off with the button, close the door, and I'm going to start it. Now we're going to take it for a quick drive, make sure everything's good, no errors pop up. So far so good, no errors. Fasten your seatbelt, dude. Come on, man. Yeah, fasten the seatbelt. All right, we are all good. See, easy as that. Now, as far as time involved, I know this video is a little bit long, but realistically, without the filming and everything, I think it would have taken me maybe 8 to 10 minutes to replace the battery from a physical perspective, and maybe another 5 minutes to program it and then register the battery. If you're replacing the battery with the exact same one, like if you went to BMW, bought an OEM 105 amp hour AGM battery, or if the new battery you're installing just happens to be a 105 amp hour AGM battery, so you don't have to recode it, it's just the same as the old one, then all you got to do is register the new battery. That's it. All in all, 15 minutes start to finish. If you wanted to do it yourself, not difficult. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd say this is about a 2. A 1 is probably what's a 1, Aiden?
Putting a zip tie on something.
Yeah, there you go. Putting a zip tie on something. That's a 1. This is not very difficult. A couple of bolts, remove the battery, install the new one, and then program and register it on your phone. I hope this video was helpful for you guys. I know it's a little bit different than my normal Land Cruiser and boat content, but figured it'd be helpful for some folks out there. Again, all the links are going to be down in the description below. If you got any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I will do my best to help you guys out. Always love helping folks through their journey with tinkering with your vehicles and such. In the meantime, I love you guys. See you next time. Whoops, my bad. That exclamation point was not for service. It was because I hadn't set the time yet after I reset the battery. So go in to your settings, time and date, set the time. Then it'll disappear. All right, we're back to no errors. I almost forgot. Don't leave your OBD2 scanner in there. Almost left it plugged in. That's gonna go back in the case. And last but not least, we're gonna put this battery in the trunk so we can go return it for the core charge. All right, I'm done now. Love y'all. See you next time.